opponent since he was in the affirmative. And I also know that walking away from that debate, um, that the audience and the judges are not 100% sure that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The other part is that in talking about the spirit doesn't function in isolation. The spirit, um, as Gideon implied in his presentation as well, that the spirit has a host. Um, Often it has a human host. But how do we know the works of a spirit? Often is through what happens in the physical realm. So you have a spiritual realm and a physical realm. But how do we know the works of the spirit? Because it is manifest in the physical, right? So I wasn't going to attempt to go into some sort of abstract and um, fall into the trap that was being attempted to be laid for me and attempt to explain my spiritual system, because that wasn't the debate topic. That wasn't the debate question. Based on the debate question, and my opponent chose the affirmative, it was his burden of responsibility. And I said that over and over again to prove that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I know 100% that he did not do that. And I did present. What I'm saying is that, and I'll say it over and over again, how do we know that a people, a society, a civilization is spiritually evolving is through the evidence. And the examples of the evidence that I used happen to be civilization, happen to be an African civilization such as the Congo civilization, the Congo spirituality. Also, I use Mesopotamia as an example. And I stuck to, at that section, in that section, I stuck to where Abraham lived. And Abraham was surrounded with people who were spiritually evolved or evolving. It just so happens that my opponent doesn't agree. He would totally negate or disregard the spiritual evolution or contributions of other groups of people because of the labels that have been put on them by such as my opponent. But outside of that circle, people who study ancient Mesopotamia, such as guests that DMG has had on this show, the society, the Mesopotamian civilization is celebrated in other circles. So I tied spiritual evolution to real physical accomplishments in this world. So I did not want to stick to the abstract. I wasn't going to attempt to explain how we practice spirituality in my society. That wasn't the debate topic. And the responsibility, the onus was on my opponent to show and prove that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he failed to do so.
So you said a lot of things, and I just want to pack something real quick. So Steve, and I'm gonna give you a hint, bro, because you know in war, there's people that run to the enlistment office, and they got people who get drafted, and this basically is like a war. And up to this point, besides the debate, you seem like you've been drafted. And if you've been drafted, this ain't the place for you, bro, because you said that you knew people was gonna fall in the trick bag behind the title. It's because we spent like 4 hours trying to get some type of title from you to debate. And when we did, you said it in a type of way to where you can dance around and trick and trick like this the shift, bro. Like this is a versus series, man. Like we here because we want to be here. We're not saying, well, you know, I believe this. Well, let's debate that. Well, I really don't believe it like that. So let's go back to this, right? So you're exposing how much you didn't stick to the debate the more you talk, because the path to spiritual evolution, that's specifically speaking of spirituality. So when you're telling me about some type of spiritual system in the Congo, And in the same sentence, shift way into in Mesopotamia. What spiritual system are you taught? Like what is the, not even a cohesion, but where is the connection in that? So what I did was, since I'm the affirmative, I'm showing you the spiritual system that's given to us by the Most High. I'm covering every base, from the spirits, from the morality, what we deem as good, how we can progress, how we can evolve. But what you did was just blanketly just show different, like it, like, like, I'm not even gonna say it was a joke, because but it was, like, I didn't get it personally, but you know.
Well, what I also said was that according to your text, the earth is only 6,000 years old. And that's why I made it historical as well, that the planet Earth is 4.54 billion years old. And then I used dates, and I predated Abraham. I predated Abraham by 16 to 18,000 years to say, well, then, if you're going to say that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what was going on before Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? There should have been nothing, but obviously there was something. And what were these people doing? They were spiritually evolving. Now, just because you may not understand or you may not know of a holistic lifestyle, where just as in the Mesopotamian system, there is a pantheon of deities, and these deities, they have particular attributes. So as a member of that civilization, of that society, what would you do? You would study the attributes. You grow up in a culture where you know the attributes of the pantheon. And as it said that certain cities had their patron deity, you know the attributes of that patron deity. Then how do you live your life? You live your life based on the attributes of that deity, right? Then you have clans, and it's based on, the particular time of your birth, and you have initiation systems, and you have rites of passage. So I wasn't going to go in and attempt to explain all of these things, because these are things that I know. I wasn't going to attempt to explain the rites of passage in ancient Mesopotamia, neither the rites of passage in the Congo, with the Congo spiritual system, neither with the possible rites of passage with Göbekli Tepe. I use Göbekli Tepe as an example, going back 12,000 years, and saying that is 6,000 years, about 10,000 years older than what was going on at in that time. To say, well, then that Eurocentric definition of civilization is false, is wrong, and there were other people who were evolving and spiritually evolving before the Eurocentric definition of of civilization. So I was not going to attempt to explain anyone's spiritual system. For what? That was not the debate question. And I know for sure that you did not prove to me or the audience that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I also said that Terah, Abraham's father, lived in the city of and he was following the Mesopotamian pantheon, and he was of the bloodline of Abraham. So what are you going to say about Terah? You're going to say that he had a wicked spirit, he had an evil spirit?
Well, what I will say is this, that, again, to me, the more you're talking, the more you're just like illuminating the things that I did do. Like, you mentioned that, where was this spirituality before Israel, Moses, and Abraham? I showed that. I showed how that before the Israelites became the priest to the Most High, we had Melchizedek, who had that office, and he disseminated that to the whole world. Whoever was there to come and get it. So it's always been there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I covered that in my debate, which is why I'm saying, like, I would have respected it more if you would have showed us the path of spirituality that you're taking, because and like I say, the more you're talking, the more you're proving my point.
I have a question.
Hold on. As soon as you said that, where is this spiritual God before Israel, and I pointed out to you that I showed it with Melchizedek. Right after that, you said people had their own spiritual systems in different cities, and they worship different aspects. I also showed in my presentation how that is folly, the foolishness behind that, because once you ascribe these certain attributes to these Nephilim or these spirits, what you're doing is you're having a whole nother priesthood that's going to come up, that's going to say that these are certain ways to get to this God, to get to this reign, to get to this deity, these special attributes that you're asking for. And that's folly, because the Most High said it's only one way. And like Drusillus Dunges Houston, I showed the religion of the first African was a pure religion, belief in one God, one priesthood. So that's what I'm saying. But like you to say you like the debate was the path to spiritual evolution. And I say that again, it wasn't the history of spiritual evolution. It's the path. So like I said, bro,
okay.
Enlist. Don't get drafted.
Okay,
Enlist.
can I talk now? Are you done? Can I talk now? So my one question is, how old is Melchizedek? Give me a date for Melchizedek.
According to the scripture, he has no father, no mother.
No, he got to have a date. He got to have a date, because if according to the scripture, the earth is 6,000 years old, so the earth was made 6,000 years ago. So how old is Melchizedek?
Let's just say it doesn't get
no. I'm
just telling you I'm telling you the fact.
You're shucking and you're sidestepping.
There's no age. I'm saying you can't blame me for what the Bible doesn't provide.
No. You're sidestepping and you're shucking and jiving again. We know that we live in a physical reality where there's science, right? And we know that the earth is 4.5 billion years old, based on radioactive radiocarbon data.
That's your belief. That's your faith.
That's not a belief.
Your faith, bro.
No, that's based on science, bro. That's based on science. That's what science says, right?
Okay, but go ahead.
So I'm asking you, based on your text, based on what I don't know, right? I'm saying 6,000 years old.
No, I believe. Look, I'm gonna jump out the window. I believe it's 6,000 years old.
Okay, so it's 6,000 years old. So how old is Melchizedek?
It doesn't state how old he is.
Okay,
it just says he's without father nor mother.
Well, then Melchizedek cannot be older than 6,000 years old because everything came into existence 6,000 years ago, right? But what I'm saying is that there's a plethora of evidence that the universe and everything else existed before 6,000 years ago, that billions of years prior to that, right? So people on this planet have been spiritually evolving way before 6,000 years, right? So we've been spiritually evolving for 290,000 years, right? So now that we're clear on that, right? Then the other part of it is that when I mentioned the people of the Congo, and I also said that African people have been inherently spiritually evolving themselves from their inception, you started to agree with me. And okay, so I'm being drafted, but guess what? You're not supposed to agree with me at all. And just like I'm not agreeing with you at all, right? And also in the debate question, that word only, right? So if not making that, okay, it's whatever. I'm not going to judge, but all that I know was that I was not going to make that novice misstep and allow that word only to remain in that title. I would have said, take out the word only, because that word only is an absolute, and it's very, very challenging to prove an absolute. So if you're saying that you're so perfect and you're not xenophobic and you're not judging other groups of people, and you're not saying that this one is good and that one is bad, and this one is good and that one is evil, that you're not doing that. What I can also say is that you have not proven 100% that the only path to spiritual evolution is through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because, as I said before, that Terah was living in Mesopotamia, and he was surrounded by people, right, who happened to be polytheistic pagans. And if they were so wicked and evil, why didn't they kill? Why didn't they kill Abraham? Why didn't they kill him? You're talking about a bunch of evil devil worshippers. Why didn't they kill him? Right? Why didn't they kill? Anyway.
Right.
Hey, I got a question, and this is for the entire panel, because I know a lot of people say that, and I'm not debating either brother, but I am curious about this because I haven't seen it, but I've heard it a lot of times that the Bible says that the earth is only 6,000 years old. So it's a two-part question. Where does the Bible state this? And is it explicitly stated?
I don't think the Bible specifically says that, but I think people do some math from Adam to this one to this one to that one to come up with that date. Because the Bible doesn't give a specific chronology of the world. It talks about from this person to that person to that person to that person. So I think that's what they do. They do the biblical math and decide that 6,000 years based on the figures that they have in the book.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Steve.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't say it's 6,000 years old. That's how we get to the date. We you add up the years from Adam all the way up to Moses, and you basically get basically from Adam to the flood, and then from the flood to Moses, and then is I forgot how you would call it, but it's a foundation where you can like the year that the temple was built. We all know that was built in 1000 AD. So it's just a way, that you add up all the years and you get 6,000.
Yeah, and the reason I ask is because one, adding up genealogies from Adam could to me would be interpreted as maybe how long humanity has existed, but not necessarily how long the earth has been in existence. That's one thing. And then the second thing is, what's the interpretation of, because this is the word of God, right? And so when it says that a day is unto 1,000 years, do we factor that into this math equation? I'm just curious as to why people had this concrete belief that the Bible states that the earth is only 6,000 years old when it's talking about from Adam. I could see where it would state that man or the men that descended from Adam are only 6,000 years old. I just don't know why we correlate that with the Earth's age. But y'all respond to that.
Can I respond?
Let me know what you think.
So what science says, what the fossil record, and I had a debate on this, what the fossil record and what genetics supports is that we as a species are about 290,000 years old. And I wouldn't say that the first person or the first, as we evolved, I wouldn't say that was Adam, right? That was what it was, but okay, so you have she is called mitochondrial Eve, but she's not the literal Eve. There are mitochondrial Eves, right? And that is a Black African woman. And sometimes science uses some religious terminology, such as the Higgs boson and the God's particle and mitochondrial Eve or mitochondrial Eves to kind of like draw an analogy. But to some extent, my presentation, I presented dates, and if someone wants to use dates, that's fine. If they don't want to use dates, well, then don't use dates. I happened to make my persuasive argument one that was using dates, right? And to say, well, then if we're going to use that date of 6,000 years, well, then in that case, there we're talking about the God of Abraham, right? 6,000 years. But science says, and we all know, we've been to school, that something existed prior to the 6,000 years. And the way that I know that I've taught and I've been to school, and I know that Europeans they like to say that the civilization started in Mesopotamia. That's fine, because that correlated with Ur and Abraham, and they want to start in Mesopotamia. That's fine, but there are also African civilizations that predate Mesopotamia, right? And that's why I mentioned the Ishango bone, to bring in African civilizations, right? To bring in my people, and also then to go back to 12,000 years and Göbekli Tepe in that region of the world as well, right? So that's why I did that. Now, my argument again, or my question again, is that my opponent did not prove that the path to spiritual evolution is only through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'll also say again that we live in a physical world. How the works of the Spirit are manifested in the physical. So what evidence do we have? The evidence is physical evidence. How do we know the works of the Spirit? As my opponent said, it's based on good and evil, as he interprets it, or not as he interprets it. Him and others like him use the word good and evil. I will use positive and negative. So how do we know the works of the Spirit are good? Based on the results, based on how it's manifested in this world. How do we know that it's evil? Based on how it's manifested in this world. So that's what I was saying. I wasn't going to go into the abstract.
You didn't even really go into that, though.
But why?
Like what you saying right now, you didn't give us a good 2 minutes of that.
But that was
that's
not
spiritual evolution, or at least your theory of it.
No, but that was not the debate question, right?
That is the path.
No,
it's the path to spiritual evolution.
If
Here we go with the trick bag.
If I was attempting to do what you would have wanted me to do, then I would have. You wanted me to present what we do at Osero Set, and I was
not really. You could have showed. You could not really.
You put up their chakra theory. So why'd you put up their chakras? Why'd you put up?
Because that's a real famous spiritual system, and a hit dog holler, because I wasn't even like really directing it towards you, but like I said, y'all Neo-Egyptians use it, and you just proved that you used it.
You were trying to hit this dog, but obviously you missed, because I did not discuss that.
But you just said it, that you in some type of way refer to it.
Stones, let those without sin cast the first stone. And you were trying to hit a dog.
I just said I threw the first stone.
Right. Well, you got sin too. You're a sinner too, right?
Yeah, I'm a sinner.
All right.
And I'm so thankful for Yahshua. I'm so thankful for Yahshua, for real.
Can I jump in here for a second as a viewer?
Hey, before you go, Jose, family, the link is in the chat. This is the last opportunity you will have to jump in. Once Jose go, if we don't have anybody else within a particular time frame, we're gonna go ahead and get into the judges' decisions, get the brothers' reaction, let y'all know what we got coming up, and who each brother would like to face next. That being said, Jose, it's on you, bro.
Now, you let me know if you think I'm crossing the line here, DMG. But I think, as a viewer, the information they presented was great. But the conversation that they're having now, maybe they should have had more of that conversation in the back chat. For me, so I would have been more clear on the topic, and I would have been more clear on who to pick for myself. That's just my view. I can't influence the judges. The brothers had so much broad information, and it seems like they didn't have time to pin down the topic. That all of that would affect my view. That they should just simply do another debate and pin down a more viable topic. That's my view.
You saying you think they should have a rematch?
Yes. And if it was up to me,
Man.
and let me ask you, if it was up to me, I would just simply say, let's call it a draw and let them have a rematch so they can pin down the topic a little more so we can have a better debate and the viewers can choose better because they present a lot of information and that's to their credit. But sometimes when you rush, you put forth something and you don't know your opponent well enough. So you put forth an argument based on what you think and think I think that's what happened here.
No, I see what you're saying, Jose.
I would want to see a rematch.
We had plenty of time to prepare. It's just that, and like I said, this brother been drafted to the Versus series. He ain't enlist because he's trying to give himself some type of room to where he can make it about this and not about that. But like I said, this is probably the first time I ever had a debate, and I'm waiting to hear what the judges say because I think they gonna because if I'm wrong, it's almost like I need to know if I'm wrong or if I'm tripping. But
I'm with you.
We had time. We had time to hash it out.
I'm with you, but I'm still maintaining from my standpoint and probably a lot of other viewers' standpoint. They would probably like to see you do a rematch on a different topic. That's something.
Ironically, yes. Hey, Steve, I'm gonna get to you in a second. Ironically, Jose, what you saying that about a draw. So one of my judges for this debate was new, and they hit me up and was like, I think it's a draw. And I'm like, nah, you can't. We had one tie on this channel, and that was because after the first two judges disagreed, the third judge could not decide. That frustrated me to no end because the third judge is supposed to be the tiebreaker. What the hell you mean you can't decide? But it was a great debate. And so I accepted it because I said when we started this thing, I would never override what the judges said, but that pissed me off. So I make it a concerted effort to make sure that don't happen again. But they went back to the drawing board and came to a decision. So this was a close one. Steve, go ahead and respond, and then we got our brother Cedric Ortega in the building, the Versus Series academic champion.
What happens? I wasn't drafted into the Versus Series, right? But I have debate experience and I have been in the back chats. And what happens is that you have, as Hemi says, that he has supporters and detractors. And people back here have alliances and allegiances, right? And what they'll also try to do is to set you up. In one chat, they'll start trying to pick your brain and pick your mouth so that they could give information to the person or the people who they're supporting. And if anyone who's been in these back chats says that that doesn't happen, they're not being truthful. That happens a lot back here, right? So I was not going to divulge my tactics. I wasn't going to. I saw flaws. I saw an opening in that question, and I jumped on that opening, and that opening is that absolute word, that word only, and it's very, very challenging to argue from the point of an absolute. So I also wasn't going to explain what I was my debate strategy. I wasn't going to explain that. I wasn't going to divulge that because that's giving my opponent ammunition to use against me, and that's what my opponent attempted to do. He was trying to set me up. He was trying to set me up based on some other debate that Inky had and talking about chakra theories and asking me about, about morality and my morality and so on and so forth. That was not the debate question. And I didn't frame my responses about what my opponent thought that I was going to do.
Well, Steve, one thing I would agree, and I got 10 seconds, I'm gonna get it up. You're right. Like, as far as like the only path, like I would never take that debate if I got 5 other topics in front of me. Like, that's a real hard thing to prove. But you know, l- like I said, like you kind of made it easy, in my opinion, with your presentation. But yeah, that's a hard debate to take if you want to say that the only way to spiritual evolution is through the Most High. I believe that, that's something my faith tells me. But for me to debate that, that's real hard to do. So you're right. But like I said, man, we was like in the back chats couple of hours trying to hammer down something. So yeah, I see why you took it. But yeah, bro, just you know, in the list,
Okay.
man.
I
All right.
appreciate that. One
All
second,
right.
DMG. Let me just get this out. I appreciate that. But also, the Earth is not 6,000 years, and there are civilizations that predate that of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's another key point in my debate. Also, cultural syncretism. That cultures borrow from other cultures, and some cultures blatantly steal from other cultures and don't give them no kind of credit, as some of us do, because spirituality comes from the traditional Africans, the first people, and then other people steal the spirituality of the traditional African and don't give them no kind of credit. Say that they came up with when they didn't. All spirituality has an African foundation.
All right, brothers, we got more people on the panel. We're going to start with the Versus Series academic champion, Cedric Ortega. Cedric, what did you think of the debate? And let the people know what you got coming up with TKO, Takari Dawson.
Yeah, first of all, peace to the debaters, peace to the platform, peace to my good brother DMG. I'm gonna keep saying it. One of the people in this community that we all gotta bow our heads down to, and you know why. Let's get to the debate. There's a saying used amongst the pseudo killers, and it's coined by the God killer himself. Never acquiesce to a faulty premise. I can understand and appreciate the confusion that Jose is experiencing, and also the judges. Why? Because from both aspects, we're dealing with an unfalsifiable claim, right? Both brothers are making claims that are unsupported, that they cannot corroborate with evidence, and therefore the debate is all over the place. If you look at the word spirituality, this word exists within a European context, within a Greek frame of reference, which was developed by Aristotle. Africans, in their many thousands of expressions of quote unquote their environment, were mostly and predominantly animist. We would not qualify that or quantify that within the framework of the word spirituality. So what my point is, the arbitrary nature of the word creates a dilemma where neither party is incorrect nor neither party is correct. It is based on a definition used, and both gentlemen were engaging in their own definition. So once we are not arguing from a singular definition, you get this type of confusion. Again, it was enjoyable to watch the argumentation back and forth, but I pretty much figured that there would be some confusion in determining the outcome. Unfalsifiable positions based on claims on both sides that are unsupported and arbitrary. Who win?
Hey, let me do this real fast because I doubt I'll ever do it again. But I would have to agree with you, said, because that position, you're talking about something that's an essence. It's not something that's tangible. It's not something that you can really, quantify. So that alone is kind of hard to prove your faith. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, me and this brother had a talk in the back chat, and once he told me he believed in a creator, he shifted it to a spiritual conversation. And we made it clear that we're speaking about spirituality. We're not talking about, you know, the evolution of ritualistic or even the belief in spirituality. We're talking about that which way, the path to it. And you know, I just felt like, you know, if he wanted to talk about the history of, you know, we could have did that, but you know, I felt like I said, my position was a hardy one. You know what I'm saying? Like to prove, like, you know, get out the way. It's just the Most High. But I felt since that was my position, I covered it. You know what I'm saying? I covered it like from every aspect of spirituality. So, you know, but I would agree with you, you know, like it's you got to get these things hammered out and talked about. And I thought we did, but you know,
Let me get over to
Can I
If I
comment?
could just
Can I
add
comment?
one little bit more, and then I'll yield the floor.
Cedric, can I
hold on
comment?
real quick, y'all. We got to keep it going because we got a lot of people up here. Let me get to the brother I call the most dominant debater in the community over the last 6 years, the one and only MVP, Chris Harris. What did you think of the debate? Who do you think took it? And I'm gonna have some good news for you possibly tomorrow with regards to you and Khalil Shabazz. But talk to the people.
All right, so first of all, shout out to both debaters on this. Shout out to everybody on the panel. And yeah, let's set that one up real quick. Listening to the debate, the name of the debate, and I generally don't sit up there and just go by the name of the debate to see who won, right? Because you're not supposed to do that. But just listening to the debate, the name of the debate was, "Is the God of Abraham the only way to seek spiritual evolution?" Am I correct?
Let me make sure I say it correctly. Is the only path to spiritual evolution
Yes.
through God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the problem with the debate was the term spiritual evolution. And the problem I was having was the arbitrary claims that was being made on both sides. And that's what was hard to follow. When the debate was closed out, I thought personally, I said nobody really won the debate because there were a lot of un, un a lot of falsifiable claims being made in the debate. Like I heard Gideon in round one, he started reading off Bible verses. But the problem that I heard with Gideon reading off Bible verses is that those were very cultural specific. And the Bible itself doesn't allow any evolution because you can only read the Bible, its laws, and its prophets. You're not allowed to go outside of that. You're only being, and I wish Steve would have attacked it through science, because you could have attacked it through science and showed that science is a form of evolution and evolutionary change within a community and civilization, whereas the Bible does not allow, or the people that followed it or made it and retained it, it doesn't allow for any type of evolution to happen. And that was part of these people's problem. And that's part of religion's problem in general. So I wish Steve could have attacked it from there through a more anthropological, scientific argument, or some more scientific argumentation. And it just attacked it through that and just looked up the scientific definition of spiritual evolution. There's a scientific definition that is not arbitrary. It's accepted. And through certain sciences, we are able to evolve as a people. I'm pretty sure we're not mixing potions anymore, testing to see if a woman is pregnant. We use science for that. We're not casting lots anymore, trying to determine the future of people. So I wish he could have attacked it through that as a negative and shown why the God of Abraham or the is not a form of spiritual evolution. I wish he would have done that instead of making a lot of arbitrary claims that have yet not to be proven. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of said it was a tie too, but I mean, shout out to both debaters.
All right. With that being said, let's get over to our brother, Big Hemi, in the building. What did you think of the debate? Who you think took it, bro?
I hate to say this, but I kind of agree with Chris MVP Harris a little bit on what he said as far as the arguments being arbitrary and things like that, and how spiritual evolution was even defined, right? So they made it more so like a philosophical argument, when I think Gideon, if he was going to go the route, well, obviously he used the affirmative, saying that the God of the Bible, through him is the only path to spiritual evolution. He should have locked down what that looks like, right? So he could have explained the mechanism of spiritual evolution. You know what I'm saying? Which is like, because every religion talks about enlightenment, higher self, awakening, balance, moral improvement, transcendence, and things like that. But
Right.
the Bible gives specific guidelines as how the spirit transforms us bodily. You know what I'm saying? Like, spiritually, bodily, but spiritually as well. So like in 1 Corinthians 2:14, it says the natural man cannot understand the things of the spirit of God because they are spiritually discerned. That's a claim that only the Bible makes. You know what I'm saying? Even though other sects understand what spirituality is, the Bible has like a blueprint to obtaining that. What, like Chris said, he don't think that there's the Bible gives spiritual evolution, but it does, because spiritual evolution isn't just about understanding what spirit is. It's about becoming one with the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Killing off flesh and things like that. And that's literally the story throughout the Bible. It's the battle between flesh and spirit. You know what I'm saying? And evolving to where you're living within your full spiritual self, even in the afterlife. You see what I'm saying? So I think neither one of the brothers really touched on that, so it was kind of a draw for me as well. And I wish Gideon would have punched in like how the Bible is exclusive in describing how to reach that level of spiritual evolution, through connecting with the Holy Spirit and things like that and following Christ. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Hey, can I respond to that right quick, DMG?
Yeah, you can respond. Steve can respond, and then we're gonna go to our brother Elder Yara, aka the Black Sage. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate you checking it out. Hear me? Definitely appreciate your input. And as to what you said, I definitely felt I showed it. Maybe I didn't show it enough to where you even noticed it, but when I explain the breakdown, the 7 manifestations of the Holy Spirit, and through those 7 manifestations, we see things like the fruit of the Spirit. And what we're looking at, I even broke it down as how as the menorah even symbolizes that. So I'm showing the articles that actually go with the spiritual system that I was talking about, as far as like, the three systems that we master, with interaction, with reflection, sustainment. That covers all life's activities, and how I incorporated the fruit of the Spirit along with the 7 spirits from the Most High. And, like I said, I showed it, but maybe not enough to you to where you even noticed it. But, I did. But again, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And, appreciate that. And to Chris, real quick, appreciate you watching it. But, the first thing you said was, I went to the Bible. I mean, betcha by golly, wow, I'm talking about the Most High. So I'm definitely going to go to the Bible. And then the last thing you said was, the problem with spirituality is religion. That's like an oxymoron, but I still appreciate you watching it, bro.
Hey,
Hold on.
before you go, Steve, I gotta drop
I
a
actually didn't
bomb.
say that at all.
I gotta drop a bomb for Gideon saying
Crazy.
"Betcha by golly wow." For those who don't know, that is a classic R&B song. But for that reference, Steve, you want to respond, bro?
Right. So I'm not going to say that Bible believers aren't spiritually evolving, based on the debate title or question. I would say, yeah, that also spiritually evolving. And my understanding of that the original people, that appeared 290,000 years ago, that they, as Cedric said, they were animists. And when Cedric mentioned about, they weren't really living that Eurocentric definition of spirituality, they were animists. And I would say that they used animism to evolve themselves, and to understand their place within the world and understand their place within nature. And in so doing, continue to evolve and advance to what we have today. But what I can also say that going into the past, like I mentioned, that's why I brought up that Ishango bone to say, well, then 16 to 18,000 years ago, we were on that path and we had technology. We had and we have technology. The technology then may not be understood as it is now. So back then, 16,000 years ago, we had technology, and that technology quite possibly was brought about because of the spiritual lifestyle of the Congo people, how we live our lives. So what I'm saying is that it's a holistic lifestyle, right? So this animistic lifestyle is very holistic, and it may be counter to how we live today, but through that methodology is how the people in the past, how they evolved themselves, not only spiritually but also to bring about civilization as well. Because some people say, well, then there's this God, and this God taught the people agriculture and taught them, brought knowledge to them, and so on and so forth. So in that way, talking about their spirituality, but they don't quite understand it was through going into trance and going in and going into altered states, right? So through
Unless that's DMG, man, somebody need to mute up because I'm hearing background.
Yeah, everybody try to mute if you're not the person talking. Go ahead and finish up, Steve, so we can go over to the black sage.
So through their rituals and trance inductions, right? They as Brother Gideon alluded, they were possessed by particular spirits, and these spirits brought them information. This happens to be the lifestyle of is practiced even in the Christian community, right? People being possessed of carrying the Holy Spirit, so to speak, right? And the Holy Spirit speaking through people. That's just one example. But in the animistic tradition, in the Afrocentric tradition, yes, being so-called possessed by a spirit, and then that spirit talking to a person through a person, and and in certain occasions bringing knowledge, right, bringing information, and also technology.
Like Steve, you referred to us as species a couple of times. Like it would have, I would have even like it would have been good if you would have like, where does species fit in with your spirituality? Where like do they look at us as like things like that, you know?
What are you talking about?
Before y'all get ready to do y'all back and forth, we got to get over to the black sage. If you there, brother, let us know what you thought about the debate and who you think took it.
Yeah, it was a solid debate. I do want to. I want to say it was a draw, simply based on the title itself. Honestly, I think they both really made the same points, right? As I was listening to the debate. But if you talk about evolution of spirituality, if you talk about Homo sapiens, right, or much closer related to modern day humans, dating back to what, 300,000 years, 250, 300,000 years, there's really no evidence of them practicing animism that far back. But we do know they did practice animism, and then later on, I think maybe about 40 or 50, maybe 60,000 years, they were practicing shamanism. So you can show a spiritual elevation from them showing animism to shamanism. You can show maybe that, but even in the biblical narrative, there's arguments that if you go in the book of Matthew and you talk about Christ and you talk about the Mount of Transfiguration, some make an argument of transhumanism. Transhumanism is a type of spiritual elevation, but we do know that in most of these societies, they were getting high, man. They were smoking all kind of herbs and stuff, and these giving these altered states of
Thank
consciousness.
you.
These altered states of consciousness that had really nothing to do with an elevation of spirituality. They were chewing on herbs and chewing on things, picking stuff out of the ground, eating leaves, or whatever they could find to put in their mouths for food. Scavengers they were, right? And they were getting high, you see? And so, yeah, they were having all kind of experiences. You see what I'm saying? Y'all can go out here and grab some of the mushrooms out your backyard. You're gonna have some spiritual elevations too. So you think. You see what I'm saying? So there's a natural and humanistic part of this argument that I think a lot of people miss. It's not always an existence in a spiritual plane that you achieve. You see what I'm saying? If that's the case, Snoop Dogg got to be the most highest and most spiritual conscious level person in the universe that ever existed. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is what they were doing. Even ancient Israelites, we know now that all those incense burners was full of
Full of that sticky.
exactly
full of the weed.
full of the
Listen,
weed.
hey, Elder Yara, I'm glad you brought it up because I was gonna say, y'all. I don't know if y'all remember, I had my man Ed Dodge on, and he talked about what was in them incense burners. I might have to replay that video and have him come back.
Yeah, you can look at you, and we find those. We can find those artifacts, right? Of these they call them incense burners. Yeah, but what were they putting in there? That's what they were doing. So yeah, they would have come out of that state or altered state of consciousness with all kind of ideas
Can
of
I,
everything.
can
You
I
see
add
what I'm
on?
saying? Yeah, go ahead.
But there is the use of hallucinogens and other medicinals, but yet still there's a form of meditation where you don't need an hallucinogen, that you can use the breath, right? And also drumming. So by using rhythmic drumming in the rituals, and you don't have to smoke peyote or weed or whatever, you can use rhythmic drumming and also the breath, and also guided meditation to achieve altered states. And through that method, you can come out of it right away, and there's no health. It doesn't affect the health negatively, right? So what I'm saying is that we don't always have to use medicinals or drugs to bring us to, or mushrooms to bring it to that state of altered experiences. We can use this through the breath and deep meditation and trance induction and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
look,
here's
And
just real quick. But here's the issue. Here's the issue with that though. What's happening is that even with the medicinals, or whether you're just using meditation or repetitive actions, it's the chemicals that you're releasing in your brain that are causing these things that occur. The endorphins and serophins. These are the things that are causing these hallucinations or causing these quote unquote altered states of consciousness. So we understand that you don't necessarily have to use something medicinal, but you're doing but these trans like practices, you're doing the same things, these repetitive chants over and over and over again, right? So it's creating the exact same thing. It's not coming from the necessary beating of the drums. It's not that at all. It's the chemical that's being released in the brain when you're focused or you're meditating on something, and that's all drums do. It keeps you focused and meditating on a particular thing. It's the rhythm. So like I said, there is a scientific element to all of it. I will agree with that. But we see throughout the Bible, though, and I think this is what Gideon was trying to bring out. And so, if I would give the edge to anybody in the debate, although I think it was a draw, I would give it to Gideon because what the scriptures always show us, whether you believe these are real people or not, whether you believe it's a fairy tale or not, they were taking people from one state of being to the next state, or one state of consciousness to the next state of consciousness, and telling you how they got there. Right? Paul says, we shall all be changed by the renewing of our minds. Well, how do you do that? Right? Meditating day and night, as you just said. Meditation is talked about all the way through the scripture.
Okay,
Right?
now listen.
That's it. Yeah,
This is where I hit this button.
The opinions and perspectives shared by our guests and debaters on Paradigm Shift TV, 314, and the Versus series are their own. They do not necessarily represent the views of the platform. We support open dialogue and critical thought, but encourage viewers to think for themselves.
Now, the reason I hit that button is because, listen, I'm listening to my man Black Sage, and salute to that brother. Appreciate your support. Shout out to my man Steve, one of the newest members of the Versus series. But listen, meditation seems amazing. Beating the drums seems amazing. All that stuff y'all named seemed amazing. But my homies over at Franklin's Kush House got this joint called Wake and Bake. And I must say, it helps me feel enlightened or evolved or whatever other idiom you want to give it. Franklin's Kush House, Wake and Bake. Shameless plug. Y'all need to go give me an endorsement for the Versus series. That being said, listen, it's about that time to get the judges' decisions. So before we do that, I want to add this back to the stage just so we got a clear understanding. I want to emphasize this because lately it's been a lot of situations where people got the judges' decisions and felt a way about it once the judges' decisions were rendered. I just want to emphasize this. I can't stop anybody from feeling how they feel, but I do want to emphasize this. This is our rubric. To be ranked among the top 10 contenders in the Versus Series debate leagues, participants must excel in 3 key categories: performance, how do you win debates? Argument quality, do your arguments demonstrate depth and clarity? Engagement and delivery, are you persuasive, articulate, and engaging? Versatility, can you argue different perspectives effectively? Strength of competition, opponent quality, have you faced and beaten strong debaters? Diversity of matchups, have you taken on a wide range of styles and topics? Pressure performance, how do you perform in high stakes debates? I put that up there because I want everybody to understand that while winning absolutely matters, there are other factors that go into whether or not you will be ranked, i.e., your performance, your information, your argument quality, your versatility, all of that is considered. Again, I use this example. I know him. I don't know if Hemi dropped off. I know somebody did. Who was that, MVP? Hemi lost 2 debates in a row at Debate Mania and was still in the top 5 because of the quality in which he performed, his information, how close the debates were, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want anybody to think because they lose, because both of these brothers are new, that's why I'm emphasizing it. And we've had some people that have been here for months and still were dejected. So I just want to emphasize that as we get ready to do the thing that everybody came to see.
And here we go.
Judge number one. Judge number one. The phrasing of the debate title sets a very high bar for the affirmative, which in this instance was Gideon. The affirmative provided examples of spiritual evolution, however, did not fully establish exclusivity. The debate is whether spiritual evolution can only, all caps, be achieved by the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The opposing side, Steve, who argued that there are multiple paths towards spiritual evolution, challenged exclusivity, and his definition of what spiritual evolution is not restricted to the teachings of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I think Steve could have offered more examples of spiritual evolution. I believe Steve did, however, succeed in establishing the affirmative claim that spiritual evolution can only be obtained through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was false. Steve for the win. I want to go first to my brother Gideon, get his response to judge number one, and then we'll go over to Steve.
Much respect to the judge number one. I mean, yeah, that was a real big topic to take on. I definitely would agree to that. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I would just, you know, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't have no problem with that.
Got you, Steve. What's your response?
Since I'm not debating now, I will remain humble because to some extent there isn't much at stake anymore. So I'll remain humble, and I would say that, you know, at least that judge was listening, and in certain instances the question is the hypothesis, or the statement is the hypothesis, and then going through the scientific method, how are we going to prove, how are we going to test that hypothesis? And that's what I attempted to do, to focus, laser beam focus on that question, and then respond to that question. And again, that word only, that absolute, is a very, very high bar.
Understood. Anybody else want to chime in on judge number one?
I think judge number one gave a fair breakdown and understanding of what they watched in the debate, and that's why I said, like, how these guys explained what spiritual evolution is I think the tricky part, and what got people, you know, where it's hard to really make a decision. And so that's why, because they gave it to Steve, because all he had to do was, even though he didn't give many examples of spiritual evolution elsewhere, he just showed that it can be only obtained through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So that's why they gave it to him. But man, Gideon, you could have really got this one, bro. You could have really got this one, bro.
All right. Anybody else before we move on to judge number two? All right. We will go on to judge number two. And for those who are uninitiated, we have 3 judges, 2 primary and 1 alternate. Watch our debates. If the 2 primaries agree, it is what we call a unanimous decision. If, however, they disagree in their assessments on who won, we will go to the alternate for the tiebreaker. In the history of the Versus series, in the year in which we've been doing this, we've only had one situation where there was a tie. I was irate because the whole point of the alternate is to break a tie. But they really felt like it was a draw. That was the debate between the brother A1 and the sister Quinn. And it was a very contentious and tightly contested debate. And so even though it irked me, I understood why they felt that way. I have went out of my way to make sure that does not happen again. I mentioned earlier, one of the judges in this instance, who was new, tried to say they couldn't decide. And I was like, listen, y'all the primary, y'all have to decide. So they went back to the drawing board, watched it again, and came up with their assessment. With that being said, once again,
And here we go.
all right, judge number 2. In my assessment, Steve won this debate because Gideon relied almost exclusively on the Bible to justify his position, but he did not meet the burden of proof required by the topic. Gideon successfully demonstrated that within the framework of the Bible, spiritual evolution can be achieved through the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. However, citing the Bible alone does not establish that this is the only viable path to spiritual evolution in a universal or objective sense. Gideon did not adequately address the possibility of alternate spiritual systems, traditions, or metaphysical paths that may also lead to spiritual growth or transformation. His argument showed that the biblical path is a path, but he did not provide evidence ruling out the existence or legitimacy of other paths. Therefore, he did not conclusively prove exclusivity. In contrast, Steve effectively challenged this assumption by highlighting the existence of multiple spiritual frameworks and by pointing out that Gideon's argument never bridged the gap between biblical authority and universal exclusivity. As a result, Steve's position was more sound and better supported, which is why he won the debate in my judgment. And what that means is this was indeed a unanimous decision for our brother Steve in his Versus series debut. Salute to our brother Gideon for giving a powerful performance in and of himself. And again, as I emphasized, taking a loss and taking a win does have its impact, but it does not mean that we won't see Gideon in that top 10 when it drops tomorrow or Wednesday. I want to start with my brother Gideon and your response to judge number 2 and ultimately the decision that did not end up going in your favor this time.
First, I want to say I appreciate judge number 2 for taking the time to watch it again and give their opinion. I would say, like, yeah, that was a real tough topic, and like they stated, and I wouldn't even much really disagree too much with that. I didn't go too much into the other spiritual systems to show. I kind of focused mainly on the Bible. But again, that's that's kind of like that's like that was like a real what would the word be, a real conceited topic to take. So Yeah, it was real hard to prove. And congratulations to Steve. You know, I don't think he really did. Like I say, I still think he just gave us a history lesson. But you know what I'm saying? As far as like my presentation, I could have showed more of the other systems and to show how they really don't amount to nothing. So yeah, that on both judges, you know, that was, you know, I respect the judgment.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Very graceful in your assessment of their decision. Steve, I want to go over to you. Both of you brothers were making your Versus Series debuts. You came out on top this time. I'm gonna go back to Gideon after I go around, and I want to know, is it anybody in particular that either one of y'all are looking forward to facing next? But in the meantime, man, what did you think of the judges' assessments?
I want to thank my brother Gideon for putting in the time and effort to put together the slides. Your slides were awesome. And I would say that in debating spiritual systems, I'm not going to say that one is better than another and that the Bible or Christianity or whatever the system is, that one cannot advance or move forward spiritually within that system. What I can also say is that the evidence and the proof is in the physical. It manifests itself in the physical. What does it result in? And if there are other systems where good is a product, then that is a form of evidence of spiritual evolution. But I'll remain gracious, and I'll thank Gideon, and I'll thank Hemi. Your music is off the chart. It's off the hook. You're awesome. You're talented. Cedric, your science, sticking to the science. I appreciate you. Brother Elder, I appreciate you too. Yara, and you know, even Chris Harris, MVP. Yeah, Chris Harris, you work hard, my brother. You deserve the accolades. And I just want to thank everybody.
All right, we appreciate you. If you had time, stick around. I'm gonna come back to you because I want to see if there's anybody in particular within the Versus series that you hoping to face next or down the line. Before that, though, let me go to the reigning, defending Versus Series academic champion, the man who in the last few months and weeks have taken on anybody that dared darken his door, the one and only pseudo slayer himself, representing the pseudo killers, Cedric Ortega. What did you think of the judges' assessments, brother?
The judge's assessment was in terms of the topic of the debate on point. I got to give it a shout out to the judges for their objectivity in how they assessed the debate. As Gideon self admitted, it was a tall order, especially when you cannot deny the existence of other quote unquote spiritual systems that exist. So I'm welcome both debaters to the platform. I appreciated the time management. I appreciate the quality of the presentations. That is something that we take pride in over here. And I'm saying we because I consider myself part of the Paradigm Shift and the Versus Series debate platform. And I think we all contribute to the quality of the presentations. And I want to thank you, both of you debaters, for an excellent showing.
Appreciate that, man. And you definitely part of the family and part and parcel to the fabric of what we do over here. I appreciate you, bro. Black Sage, I know Gideon is one of the on the ground. What did you think of the judges' assessments?
Please to the panel. I thought the judges gave the best assessment that they could based on the information that was presented to them, and that's all you can ask for. Honest judges. We know in this space, judges with integrity and honesty is a good thing. I think that I think that they watched the debate. You know what I mean? And so that's always a good thing, because sometimes you could tell the judges, they hear a little bit here and a little bit there, and they're making an assessment, but they touched on every point of the debate. And so I think that's a good thing, man. So always shout out to the judges. Shout out to the judges, man.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Big Hemi, what did you think of the judges' assessments, and which one of these brothers you trying to face down the line?
Like as I said, Judge one, the assessments were on point, man. Like everybody's saying it, like Gideon had a tall task because he had 3 things to do in one. You know what I'm saying? First, he had to prove spiritual evolution even exists as a real definable process. Then he had to prove that spiritual evolution only has one valid source. Then he had to prove that their valid source was Yahweh, the God of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So I understand how that, based on the information that he did put out there, how they came to their decision. And like I said, Steve had the easy job. All he had to do was I don't gotta provide many examples. I just gotta show that, that's not it. So congrats to Steve. Man, I'm jealous because I wanted to be one of the first ones to lay one of these tanks down. So
Oh, wow.
but I look forward to debating either one of them in the future. You know what I'm saying? I've already had, me and Gideon had our back and forth the other night. I've chopped it up with Steve a few times in the back chest. We ain't really touched on any topics or whatnot or whatever, but either one of them, they viable opponents. And you already know the academic champ up here. He know I've been trying to come for his head for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So you've been saying he taking on all prisoners. I'm ready whenever he's ready as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hemi, I gotta give you that debate.
Chill out, man. Chill out.
Agree
Relax.
to debate the Corey, and if I'm a debate to Corey, I owe you that debate. Honestly, I said it in the back chat. I said it in the back chat. I tagged you in it, so I need to say it up here. I'm debating to Corey. I'm a flat earther. You get that debate. I can't deny you that debate.
Hey, Sid, this is the thing, though. This is the thing. On the 20, I forget if it's the 27th or the 28th. I got to look at the calendar. But Hemi got a date with the undisputed, reigning, defending, undefeated champion versus series world champion, Joshua. See, Hemi is the octopus of versus series, because he be reaching out trying to grab everybody and get him in the ring.
Win, lose or draw, Hemi is getting that debate. I mean, this dude is a pure debater, and if I'm true to my word, if I'm debating to Corey, there's no way I can deny Hemi his shot. So Hemi, we're gonna take our time and chop it up. I'll let you get your work in. Win or lose, we having that debate. I said it here, and you can hold me to it. I promise.
It's on the record. It's on the record. And Hemi, but I need you. We got to get you and Joshua in for a face-off, and I need you to focus on that title match. MVP, Chris Harris. What did you think of the judges' assessments, and what can we look forward to from you in the Versus series?
Me dominating these bums up here. I agree with the judge's assessment on the debate. It is what it is. I see he got all the words from me when he in the chat, or when he allegedly pops up on my channel and disappears. But with me being up here, he doesn't say anything. Let me say this real quick.
I'm respecting the. Hold on, Chris. Don't ever mistake it.
I'm talking.
See, that's why I was doing. I was being respectful, but since you tried to call me out, I'm trying to let you know. Don't take my respect for me not being fearful or none of that. As soon as you get through talking, you talking your trash. DMG get through. No.
One more time.
As soon as DMG got to show he. I just wanted to say DMG got to show he's running. So I'm being respectful. See. That's what I'm talking about.
Disrespectful by not allowing me to finish.
Okay. All right.
One mic, y'all. One mic. Chris,
that's all I'm sitting up here saying.
You know him.
Truth hurt. Hey, the truth hurt. So, like I said, they're saying, is the God of Abraham the only way to spiritual evolution? No, he is not. I want to explain why. The Bible itself decentralizes everyone else's spiritual organizations. It goes around and it makes claims of destroying the Canaanites and destroying all false religions, while at the same time borrowing concepts from other people's religions. Fact being told, Psalms 20, we know that comes from a Canaanite song. It's already been stated, it's already been proven. So how can it be a form of spiritual? Can it
You went out for a bit, Chris.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how can it be a form of spiritual evolution if it's decentralizing everyone else's religion? It's not a form of spiritual evolution because it relies on genocide, murder, rape, and everything else to prove itself. That is not spiritual evolution, that is terrorism. So, with that being said, there's y'all smoke for the day. Chew on that. With that being said, good job, Steve.
Well,
Bad job, tanks on the ground.
hold that fat right there before you jump out the skillet, fam. So when you
Yeah,
talk
don't try to
about
say
is
that in
that
right.
it did centralize, that the Bible decentralizes all the religions, that's a contradiction you just made, because you said in Psalms 20 it borrows from other spiritual systems. It borrows from other spiritual systems to do what? To elevate or build his own, based on the argument you just made. So you really just cut yourself. No, it's not horrible. It's what you just
That's a
said.
horrible
No, it's
argument.
what you just said.
Okay,
So
so here, let's take a
either you
look here.
retract that. Hold on.
No, I'm
Either
not
you
retracting
retract that.
anything. That's
Yeah,
wrong.
either you retract that statement, or you have to take another route for the argument you
Okay,
just made. Now,
Hey, real quick, I got a question, and I am
what
gonna
he's
put
gonna do
y'all
is
on the
he's gonna
spot.
overtalk me for the rest of the time on here, so I
hey,
don't respond.
speak for yourself. Nobody
If
said
it's
it's going to
borrowing,
overtalk you.
if I'm
One
not
mic.
You
talking to
sound
One
you,
just
mic.
like what Hemi just said
I
to
don't
you.
want to mute. I don't want to mute
Don't
nobody.
take it, man,
One
for
mic.
okay.
anything
So
else
here, let me say this
but
real
a
quick.
conversation.
Real
Let me say
quick.
this real quick.
Go ahead,
If it's
Chris.
borrowing, okay. If it's borrowing from someone else's text, at the same time decentralizing the same group of people who created the text in the first place, it is not a form of evolution. It did not help evolve someone else's society or civilization. It destroyed it, and then in turn plagiarizes someone else's spiritual system while at the same time decentralizing it, saying that it's evil, but borrows the same motifs and archetypes. It is not a shot in my own foot. It was completely ridiculous what you just said. And once again, you can't even straw man an argument correctly here. Your Bible makes claims of being the only God. If your God is the only God, why is it borrowing other people's spiritual concepts and motifs? It's simple.
So Chris, I think
Okay,
you're
let me
Hey, hear me. I'm gonna get over
my
yeah,
here.
bad.
let me
I got
let
you.
me respond. I'm gonna throw it right to you, Hemi.
We're gonna
I'm
let
gonna throw it
y'all.
right to you.
We're gonna
If
let
it talk
y'all
if you
respond.
Yeah, if you talk about that it's borrowing motifs from other spiritual systems, why would it be borrowing motifs from other spiritual systems? That's a rhetorical question. Because it's elevating its own belief systems. And if you look, and if you say that it's only simply based on that, we can go to the Bible and we can show you those elevations. We can show you from Judaism to Christianity to Islam. Those arguments alone show that there's just more than one. So your argument in itself, you don't know what you're even arguing. You just don't like the Bible. But you're not
Okay,
even
so
listening to what you're saying.
once again, what does the word evolve mean?
Going from one
Did
place
the
to
Bible,
another.
hold on, let me finish. Hold on. Did the Bible according to its own narrative? Did the people of the book according to the own narrative? Historically, everywhere this book went, what did it cause amongst the indigenous people? It did not cause an evolution. It caused destruction. It caused rape. It caused conquering in the name of your God. It is not a process of evolution. And how dare you try to argue with me historically? and try to tell me that the book, everywhere it went, it caused peace. Even
And
according to the original
DMG, let me get in the queue.
narrative, he said, destroy the Canaanites and everything they do. Stop it. This
Okay.
is complete ridiculousness. And I'm
okay.
going to sleep.
Like say,
You got my
let me
number?
say this real
Shut up.
quick.
Hey, yo.
Let me say this real
Hey,
quick,
yo,
and I'll land. I'll say this real quick, and I'll land, and it's on you,
Come
Hemi.
on, I want all the smoke.
If you
Give
hold
me all
on,
the smoke.
if you want the smoke, let's talk about why they went into Canaan. They went into Canaan to stop child sacrifice.
Brother Elder.
That's the history.
He
He's gone.
fell off. I don't know if he left
That's
or he fell off.
as I
No,
knew
he
he
ran.
would. He
No,
better
I
go to
think he
sleep.
ran. That's just. Let me not say that. I don't know. I
He
think he
better go
dropped
to
off.
sleep.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna say the brother ran. I'm just gonna say he fell off. Hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah, he
Look,
fell off
it
on
was
the
too many
pillow.
that was gonna be on his head. I was gonna fall back because I know him and Yara about to deal with him. But
Go ahead,
you
Hemi.
know, yeah.
I was gonna ask Elder Yara before he left, though. I was gonna ask you and him, can we get Elder Yara versus MVP Chris Harris in the Versus series?
If he wants to smoke, he got it.
Hey, y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here. Hemi, respond.
So I think Chris keep misapplying the definition of spiritual evolution because he's talking about the destruction of natural things, right? The reason why they were destroying those natural things, those pagan practices and these communities and all that stuff was to elevate the people spiritually.
Facts.
You see what I'm
Facts.
saying? So that is
Facts.
spiritual evolution. That's what I stated earlier, is destroying living fleshly, feeding the flesh so that your
Facts.
spirit can evolve. That's the whole point. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
But he's
Facts.
misapplying that definition, saying, well, how would they evolve? And if he's destroying communities and he's going in there killing the Canaanites, because those people were living fleshly. The whole
Facts.
purpose of the Bible is to destroy the flesh and evolve the spirit. That's why Jesus said, if a man that's not born of water and the spirit, then that's all about being reborn. You see what I'm saying? So that's elevation.
Facts.
The
Facts.
evolution
Exactly,
is a
Hemi.
change.
Because we could go through the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments itself is a spiritual evolution. The reason why the Ten Commandments was given is so that people wouldn't live at a lower state of consciousness and being. That's the whole point of the Ten Commandments itself.
Do you want to set up that
in of
debate?
itself is a spiritual evolution.
Would you like to set up that debate, Yara?
I just said you got it. You heard me.
Okay, cool. So my
Hold on, man. We still responding to the first load of stuff you dropped off.
Yeah,
Hey, can I hold on real quick?
We got
I actually trying to set up a debate, Gideon.
Lord
Let me
up
talk
here.
to Yara for a minute. All right, losers should be
Chris,
quiet.
I'm gonna come back around to you. So you and Elder
Well, I'm getting ready.
Yara-
I'm getting ready to hop in the bed. Hey, real
people
quick, I'm
who
getting ready to
run
hop in the bed. I
mid-debate
just
should
want,
be
hey, yo, I
quiet.
tell you what.
Hey, Chris, just
Like
holler
in
at
the middle of a
DMG and we'll
debate.
work it out. We'll work it out.
Set up debate. Set up debate, Pianki. That's all right.
Yeah, we'll work it
I
out.
don't want the evolution. I'm gonna destroy him on that one.
Yeah, we'll work it out. We're gonna rearrange them MVP letters you got.
Hey, go pray to your hippie in the sky.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't pray to no hippie in the sky, brother.
I got you. Real quick, before we go to Zion the Warlord in the building, I want to get a response from the two people we up here for, Gideon and Steve. Congratulations to Steve on a great win in his Versus Series debut, but also congratulations to our brother Gideon for having a powerful performance in his Versus Series debut.
Yeah,
I want to ask you first, Steve. Is it anybody in the Versus Series in particular that you looking to get in the ring next?
I'll wait my turn, right? So Hemi wants Cedric's head, and Cedric called me out. So I'll wait. Cedric on the debate. What's his name? The Flat Earther, Corey, and then Hemi won him.
Well, wait.
I'll wait.
Steve, if I can say this, you don't necessarily have to wait, because Saturday, Cedric and Takori getting that on. Hemi has a world title shot, so Cedric is in his far view. So if you want Cedric next, say the word, and we'll set that up.
Well, you see, Cedric called me out. I wasn't there, but Sister Ivory heard it, and supposedly he was coming at my head after that evolution debate, and particularly where he says that I don't know science and I'm not a scientist, and he's not here right now. But the fact is that I do have a degree, and I don't need to prove anything to anyone. But I got street creds in the classroom. So yeah.
Say that.
Okay, Zion. See, we from the East Coast, so we know what it's like
Right.
up here. You
Yes, sir.
understand? Yeah. How many years in the Bronx? 17 years in the South Bronx, my
You
brother.
understand?
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right. So yeah, Cedric, it is.
All right. So, hey, listen, family. I keep telling y'all. I know it's December, but the Versus series been live all of 2025, and in 2026, we're gonna keep it lit. With that being said, Gideon, is it anybody you got in your scope, bro?
Nah, man, not nobody in particular. It's just if anything, I just know now that if it take 8 hours in the back chat to get a title, that's just what it's gonna have to be, man. Cause that's what it's all about, just making sure I don't take any, So yeah, that's my thing, man. Just make sure we get a good debate, good topic, and we just take it from there, Congrats to Steve again, man. Good debate,
What
man.
I want to emphasize too, and my apologies to any debater, these brothers included, if I didn't emphasize it, I never want anybody to take a topic under the auspices of we've been going at this too. If it take a week to get an equitable topic, then it's gonna have to take a week.
Yeah, and it ain't much really, because I accepted that, and it wasn't even like. But I'm just saying, like, I need, like I said, I guess I was feeling myself because that is a real, like, that's like I didn't even just logistically speaking the time that it would take, because like the judges said, like, you got to prove the other side is false, and I just really just spoke on my side and briefly spoke on the other side. So that's what I learned, like, hammer out that and make sure you got the title and the topic you want.
No doubt. And listen,
I
we
like
got
Steve
another
cut the head off.
No doubt. We got another example of a brother who up here who took a loss in his debate against Cedric, but had one of the best performances I've seen yet in the Versus series. Impressed the hell out of me. I knew he was with it, but I hadn't had the opportunity to actually see it up live and in person. Shout out to Zion Warchild. He is an example of somebody who took a loss and still ended up being ranked in that top 10 due to how powerful his performance was and his presentation. Zion, talk about the debate, what you thought about what the judges said, etc. Who you got in your scope?
I have to go back and watch the debate. I just caught the far end because I've been doing my research for my debate coming up on the 20th. So I just saw it when you
talk about that before you get done.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, no, me and Sila Shalom, we're gonna argue about whether Ethiopian Christianity is a product of Roman influence.
Oh, that's gonna be powerful.
Yeah, so and when you say product of Greco-Roman influence, what you're really asserting is that it's Hellenized. You understand what I'm saying? So that's going to be a great debate. I'm looking forward to that. I just got finished beating up on Tad's exclusives, you know what I'm saying, on the other channel, you know what I'm saying? Had to fall out with that brother because he really didn't show his unbiased as the platform, you know what I'm saying, like you do. You know what I'm saying? Like you always show an unbiased. You don't pick a side just because you want somebody else's views, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to go into that too much, but from what I've been hearing, I like the camaraderie, and I like, Gideon, you're a good brother, man. I respect you. I think from what I've heard,
facts.
Yeah, no. From what I've heard, you know what I'm saying? Number one, he's a good sportsman, and sportsmanship is very important in these debate arenas. This is like there is a code of honor that goes with jousting and with you know what I'm saying, with that kind of intellectual kind of engagement that I feel like we're kind of losing with some of the social media, you know what I'm saying, attitudes that become very arrogant and overly, you know what I'm saying, pompous and stuff like that. We got to get back to the honor code. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay on code, y'all. And I loved how both of these brothers, you know what I'm saying, showed that mutual respect, even win or lose. At the end of the day, Gideon still was a good sportsman, and the other brother, as a winner, was a good sportsman. He wasn't sitting over here dancing around like, oh, that was an easy win type stuff. You know, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be on an intellectual level and a social intellectual level with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we're just turning it into a Jerry Springer SHI Sugar Honey Iced Tea show. So with that said, you know, I would have loved, from what I've heard with Gideon, and I said it in the chat, if you were just focused on the Bible, you would have had to really, and you already said it, you know what I'm saying? You would have had to do more of a comparative study to prove that the Bible, you know what I'm saying, had, you know, a higher level above some of these other spiritual systems. So it would have been a comparative study. You know what I'm saying? I'm an objective on this because I study multiple, you know, religious cultures. Although I am a Rastafari Israelite, you know what I'm saying? I study Chinese. You know what I'm saying? Buddhism. I study all of these things. The Bible says to study to show thyself approved. You know what I'm saying? And so I study all of these things. You know what I'm saying, for that cause. However, you know, and the other brother was very gracious as well, man. That's what I think, you know, that is lacking in a lot of these debate forums. You know what I'm saying? The arrogance, the pomposity, the narcissism, the braggadocious stuff had no place in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Of the debate. Before the debate starts, we can do all of that smack talking. After the debate, how about we show ourselves to be gentlemen and scholars?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so this is what the presentation I'm going to do on your show is all about, and everybody can get it.
No doubt. Hey,
intelligence. And yo, some people get, you know, they crack up at me because I use certain terminology that sounds sexual, right? But this is the Freudian slip of some of the behaviors that happen, right? In some of these, you know, and I don't want to go on a diatribe or anything, but to keep it real short, when we get into when we're doing the weigh in and stuff like that, yeah, that's all of that smack talk. All of that is important to build up the debate, to build up the energy, to build up the audience's, you know what I'm saying, excitement. All of that is important. Now, once we get into the debate, now we're banging out. After the debate or after the fight is over, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to touch gloves, dap up, and freaking daggone, you know what I'm saying? Win or lose, take it like a champ.
No doubt. And hey, listen, hey, Zion.
Arrogant attitudes because of the social media and stuff like that, and everybody's trying to.
Everybody want to be Shaka almost, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Everybody want to be Sarah Suit and Sandy.
It's wild. It's wild. So you know, like let's you know, we can, you know, saying tone down the egos. If you won, cool, man. You should wear that with a badge of honor and be honorable about it. At the same time, if you lose, you should also, like my brother Gideon just did, be humble, respectful. I should have did this. I should have did that. That's how we supposed to act as grown ass men.
Yeah, and y'all know I'm transparent. The brothers can tell you. I hope they had a good experience in their first they debut debates in the Versus series.
Great, man. I love it. I'm gonna go back and watch, but from what I've heard, you know what I'm saying, tonight, I caught like the back end of the debate and then came over here after I did a little research and stuff.
100% watch that replay, and obviously good luck to you going against the brother Selah Shalom.
Yes, Selah's a good
And,
man. Yeah, I've been doing some
yeah.
big numbers, man. Like I've been doing some big. I've been debating with some real, you know what I'm saying. I would say, you know what I'm saying, like
Heavyweights, yeah. And so I gotta ask you this before we go over to Hemi. I gotta ask you this: is it anybody in the Versus series you got in your scope?
Well, I do want to get at Chris Harris because I feel like, you know, and I respect Chris Harris, you know what I'm saying, as an intellectual. You know what I'm saying? I really do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he has some form of deep-seated personal attitude, because when he brought up, you know what I'm saying, how Christianity did this, a lot of religions did that. Now, when we talk about evolution is about freaking daggone, you know what I'm saying, like a trial by fire. We don't just evolve upward. There's wars, there's falling outs, there's even in genetics, you know what I'm saying, there's certain genetics that natural selection, certain things don't make it and certain things do. And that is a part of the human experience. Every religion, every culture has these issues and problems that later on develop into either a better way of thinking to correct those faults or become worse. But if they're still here, it's probably because they're evolving.
Hey, Zion, I'm going to say this, and salute to my brother Chris Harris, because everybody entitled to their opinion. I think I've been saying this for years. Religions don't do nothing to nobody. The people who interpret the religion in a particular way.
Great point.
Do
and
things
I wanted to make that so people say, oh yeah, you learned Christianity because of slavery. Okay. However, we learned how to use a gun through slavery. We learned a lot of stuff through slavery.
You know what
we
my
throw
favorite
out the baby with the bathwater? No, a tool of destruction and oppression can also turn into a tool of liberation.
Check it out, Zion. My favorite analogy, and I gotta play something, and then I gotta go over to Hemi, and then we're gonna let Gideon and Steve close this thing out. My favorite analogy is a hammer is used to build things, right? But in the right situation, a hammer can be used to destroy things or to destroy someone.
Exactly.
It ain't the hammer fault how it's used. If it's used for its purpose, great. But if it's used for a purpose that it wouldn't built or designed for, that's not the hammer fault. So religion, be it Christianity, Islam, whatever religion, if you read the tenets of said religion and you can correlate that with destructive behavior, I get it. But if it don't correlate with destructive behavior, then you got to look at the people. But
exactly.
I got to hit this because look.
Can I just say this one thing? You asked me, Domo, you want the smoke? I will smush your head in, boy.
Hey, Domo coming over here, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, bro.
I don't know what his problem is with me. I guess it was because of his Clubhouse issues and stuff. I literally left Clubhouse because it's trash. Stay in your lane, boy.
Hey, Zion, let me tell you, Domo coming over here next Wednesday, man. The plug will be entering the Versus series. So let me know if you want to put something together and we'll get that on the books. But you know, I got to hit you with this, Zion, because
I'm working on the debate and my presentation on the social intelligence, Domo. You might want to pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? That'll be great. And, you know, so if you want the smoke, I hear you always freaking daggone in the chats and stuff, talking smack towards me. I never had a problem with Domo. I don't know what these dudes be like. What are y'all hating on? Because I'm still here and I'm still moving from state to state. You know what I'm saying? By Domo. Like, I don't get it, yo. Why are these niggas hating on me, bro?
I forgot to hit this when you first came on, bro. I got it. You got to let me hit this, and then we're going to go to Hemi because I forgot. You ain't even tell me, but I forgot. I got to hit this because this is Zion the Lion.
I'll make a pact with you. With the gods as our witnesses. Let us pledge that the winner will allow the loser all the proper funeral rituals.
There are no pacts between lions and men.
There are no pacts between Zion and men. Big Hemi, man. Who you well, I can't say who you looking forward to because you got the champ in your scope, man. So let's talk about it, bro, as briefly as you can, so Gideon and Steve can close this thing out. You've been in the Versus series for a while now. You already debated Joshua. I got to get y'all in the negotiation room, but if y'all already got y'all topic, we're gonna jump straight to the face-off. But let me know what you're thinking, man. You think this time you're gonna be able to take them because the stakes is higher. The world title is on the line. Talk to us.
And the higher the stakes, man, the better I got to show up and show out, man. I told you, everything is aligned perfectly for this, man. With it being a rematch, with this man calling him self Lucifer, you know, me representing Christ, you know, me losing. I told you, it's like and the title of the showdown being the final word, man. And you can't map that out no better. You know what I'm saying? We know how Revelation goes. You know what I'm saying? So if we, like I said, if our first battle was in Genesis, this last one gonna be in Revelation. You know, and I just gotta show up, show out. That's it. That's it, man.
Man, hey, I just want y'all to trip off Big Hemi right quick. He say, man, listen, I lost. Our first one was in Genesis. This is the final word, and it's gonna be revelation. Like, hey, man, I mess with Big Hemi. I'm not gonna front to y'all. Check it out. And not just because he made the dopest song in these YouTube debate streets for your boy either. I was rocking with him before that. But listen, my brother Gideon, talk to him, man. Close this thing out. Let him know what it is with you in the Versus series, because I know you're going to be right back at it. And we'll go over to our brother Steve and let him close us out.
Oh yeah, man, most definitely, man. Appreciate you, DMG, man, once again for providing the platform. You know, definitely respect the integrity. That's why, you know, when you win, you win, you lose, and you can respect it over here, you know. But yeah, man, I'm definitely gonna be back at it like a bad habit, you heard me?
For sure. Appreciate you, bro. You know, we've been rocking for a minute. Anytime I get you over here, it's a good time. So I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in the ring in this Versus series thing as soon as possible. My brother Steve, you got the victory.
Good win, Steve, bro. Congratulations.
Said is in your scope for that academic title. It's appropriate because you are literally an academic. Talk to the people, man, and let them know what's good.
So I don't attempt to tear down anyone's spiritual system. If that's their system, that's their system. What I can add on is that, you know, this dying and resurrecting God, I wouldn't say it was plagiarized, but many people borrowed that motif. What I'll also say about Christianity is that a lot of people, they may not know, but the first Christian church actually was in the Coptic church in so-called Egypt, or you know, and that was in 52 AD. So that region of North Africa, or the African continent, is a hotbed for spiritual practice and spirituality. And my brother Gideon, I mean, we do agree, and it within certain guidelines or on certain points, but most definitely DMG, when you talk about, you know, like if you're black, I'm for you. I really appreciate what you're promoting, that we need to support each other, no matter what. We need to support each other based on our blackness, and not tear down each other. So yeah, we can disagree, but disagree respectfully. And at the end of it all, it's not personal. You know, I wouldn't take any of this personal. But the fact is that if you come at me, especially on the debate stage or in this, I'm not going to take it. Either I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come back, but I ain't gonna take it, and I'm gonna remember that, and I'm gonna come at you. What I'm gonna say is that Gideon did not come at me. Hemi ain't come at me. Zion ain't come at me. Nobody ain't come at me. But or come at Kemet, or come at, you know, my tradition. So, you know, it's just respect, and it's just love, and let's continue to build the conscious community, and understand that we're all black men and we're all black people, and we're not each other's enemy. I'm not your enemy, right? We got. I don't have any enemies, but there are people who are really out to get us. Facts.
That's facts. That's facts. And listen, the black individual and the black collective need one another if we're gonna move forward in power. Salute to our brother Steve. We looking forward to you getting in the ring with Sid or to Corey. Well, now if you just won't say it, I guess that's whether Sid still had a belt or not.
Hold on. To Corey, he said he ain't want to debate me because I'm a creationist. I mean, come on now, that's a cop-out.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, that's a cop. And then he go take a debate with Ced. I mean, Cedric.
That's funny coming from a flat earther.
Hey, listen. Takari said something so hilarious to me this morning, man. That's my bro. Shout out to Takari. I'm glad to have him back in the Versus series. So I just got some questions about that flat earth stuff. But because my question was, are all the other planets flat as well? Or is it just Earth? Like what? I don't understand it. It's just certain stuff. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. I don't understand. Like I understand the existential deviation, as Franz Fanon would say, on the black individual and the black collective as a result of losing language, losing your culture of origin, etc. That the black individual and the black collective are simultaneously defining and redefining our identity. So I know why we come to these conclusions about who we are, whether it's the Moors in Morocco, whether it's my brothers and sisters who say that they were always here and they aboriginal to this land, whether it's the brothers and sisters who say they Israelites. I get the desire and the search for identity because of what was lost. I don't understand the flat earth stuff. I need somebody to explain that to me. And I'm not even joking. I don't understand it. But that being said, my man Cedric say, drop the link. I just dropped it. I'm going to give him an opportunity to come up here. If anybody needs to leave, I get it. But I do want to give Ced the opportunity to speak. Talk to us, champ.
Sir, I want to just remind everybody to be in the building this Saturday. Come watch me body bag, rag dog, another pseudo. And it's an opportunity. The reason I took the debate because it's an opportunity to bring some up-to-date information in terms of human evolution and our place in this whole equation. Too many discussions are happening momentarily as to who we are in terms of our identity. And some of the discussions are warranted, especially in terms of with regards to reparations. I've been doing some research, and it is not as clearly defined as it should be. There are too many gaps in the definition, by which means too many groups would come into consideration, even by the census. So this delineation is a requirement in terms of the reparations conversation. I fully agree that it is those that can trace themselves back to the original census, the 4 million that were freed, that are entitled to that reparations, right? So the discussion is a warranted one, and one of delineation that I think, based on the broadness of the term African American, needs to be addressed. However, when addressing these terms, if you propose or engage in pseudoisms, or you try to bring pseudo archaeology, pseudo history as part of the narrative, you are going to get laughed out of the court. You are going to get laughed out of any arena where you can and should be taken seriously. With that said, I have my suspicions with regards to COINTELPRO to muddy the waters with regards to the whole reparations conversations, but that is neither here nor there. So this debate is going to contribute to that whole conversation in terms of firmly rooting and understanding human evolution. It's a chance to slow the conversation down, and fortunately or unfortunately, Tokory is the sacrificial lamb, but he calls himself TKO, so he doesn't mind getting knocked the hell out.
What's the topic? What's the topic?
Tokory, I did the title of the debate. Let me just be completely transparent and clear with it, because I got it right in front of me as I'm still fine-tuning the little presentation stuff. The origins of Homo sapiens, North America versus Africa.
Right.
So yeah.
But
you need not say more.
yeah. You know, Caribbean, like in the Caribbean, certain Caribbean islands are saying that England owes people of the Caribbean reparations. So I might not get reparations here in America. I might get reparations in Trinidad. So
exactly. I mean, I still live and exist as a relic of the past. I am firmly and squarely rooted in a colonial existence. I am an African by descendant, Arabian by ethnicity, and European by nationality. Because of course the Dutch Caribbean and the French Caribbean are still colonially tied to Europe. So although we enjoy on paper what seems or appears to be a high level of political autonomy, at the end of the day, finances, military, foreign affairs are all regulated by the Netherlands. Like, for example, the current dilemma that is being faced in the Caribbean, where the Dutch
Aruba?
Yeah, not Aruba, and Bonaire. There's a one-on-one relationship with Venezuela, right? The food, the floating market are the boats that come via Venezuela. They bunker in Curacao right there in the floating market, and trade is done. The television networks, the predominant language spoken in Curacao is Dutch via our education system, Papiamento culturally. But the third language that is firmly rooted in the nation itself is Spanish. Why? Because most of the TV stations are Venezuelan. So as a kid growing up, I would go to Curacao, and there is where my Spanish got reinforced, because I would spend the whole summer watching nothing but Spanish television. So now you can understand the dilemma that these islands are not in charge of their foreign affairs, and they have little or nothing to say with regards to what is happening on an international front. That is the Netherlands dealing with the USA in terms of what they are allowed to do in the Caribbean, whereas the consequences are for us here in the Caribbean and not the Netherlands. So the problems that we face as Africans of the diaspora vary in terms of how they look, but we all have our issues up until today with the after effects or the results of the transatlantic slave trade. So,
hey, listen, family. I can listen to this conversation for the rest of the night, but I gotta lay it down. So, with that being said, hey,
Can I say one quick thing before you go, DMG?
Say what?
Can I say one quick thing before you go, DMG?
I don't know, man. You long-winded, bro.
No. Here's the thing. I want to set up a stream with Elder Yara for Wednesday, but I want to set up a dual stream with you so we can do it on both platforms. Is that cool?
I got something going on Wednesday. That's what I'm about to tell the family. But I don't mind doing that if the timing is right and I don't have nothing else popping. So just keep me posted on what other days you got available because this week is a busy week. Tomorrow, I'm thinking 8:15 Central Time, we're going to have that top 10 show for y'all. So we are going to get that top 10 out to y'all, and we will find out who is ranked and who isn't, who's in and who's out. Stay tuned for that tomorrow. Then Wednesday, I got the Woman King, Amira, in the building.
What's the timing on that though, DMG?
That'll be 7:15 Central Time.
All right.
Yo, DMG, big shout out to my son, man. He just turned 13. The dude is 6 foot, 13 years old.
Already 6 foot.
All A student. We're doing his bar mitzvah on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
That's
man.
what's up.
Congratulations to your son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Black bar mitzvah. That's what's up.
You already know. Yes, sir. Rastafari Israelites, Rastafari Jews.
No doubt, no doubt. So listen, family, it's a busy week. Top 10 show tomorrow. Who in, who out? The Woman King, Amira, will be here this Wednesday. Thursday, I could have swore I had something coming up, but I got to look at my books because it's not coming to mind right now. Friday, I'm going to try to do a Free Smoke Friday just to talk about everything else we got going on. It's a lot of craziness going on in the back chats. And Saturday, as Cedric already told y'all, Cedric Ortega, the pseudo slayer, taking on our brother TKO Takari Dawson. I believe the topic is, what is the origins of Homo sapiens sapien, Africa or Asia? And it's going to be a powerful debate as always. The academic champion is coming to put on a show, but TKO Takari Dawson is not to be taken lightly. So those brothers going to get in the ring. As you know, our brother Cedric has been more active than any other debater in these YouTube streets. If you darken his door, be careful for what's going to come out for you. That's all I got to say about that. Our brother Steve and our brother Gideon, listen, man, I can't thank y'all enough as it relates to coming into the Versus series in the first place, but even more so the sportsmanship and respect that y'all show one another. And I hope y'all setting a new standard for how these things go when it comes to winning and taking defeats and just overall engaging with each other. As I always say, we can have unity without uniformity, and our different ideologies shouldn't keep us from uniting. And we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. Y'all showed that tonight, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And again, man, shout out to Steve, man. Good debate, bro. You deserve to win. And appreciate you, DMG.
No doubt, no doubt. Y'all know what it is, man. It's Paradigm Shift TV 314, home of the Versus series. It's your brother DMG the Poet, a.k.a. Brother Pianki. We got our brother Jose Francis. If you haven't subscribed to that brother channel, please do. He and I are going to be doing a lot more of these dual streams so we can get some more attention over there on the brother channel. He got a nice platform. He's doing good things, trying to push our people forward and power. Please support the brother.
Thank you so much.
That's
So I'll let you know if I'm good
ahead,
at Wednesday, if I could do it Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, keep me posted on that, man. We got Zion the Lion in the building. He got a big debate coming up with our brother Selah Shalom on the HOK.
Yep.
And he doing a presentation over here with your brother DMG. And he is still in the Versus series. So y'all don't duck that smoke. We got the newest members of the Versus series. My brother Steve, my brother Gideon, and of course, the academic champion himself, Cedric the Pseudo Slayer Ortega. The Versus series is live in 2025. I can't even talk. The Versus series is live in 2025. And we're gonna be lit in 2026. The next sound y'all gonna hear. Hey, my brother who said link, I appreciate it, man, but I'm about to close this thing out. But feel free to hit me up if you're on the book or wherever. Hit me up. I'm gonna put my email in the chat if you want to link up, come on, do a presentation or whatever. hit me up, hit Sister Ivory up, hit my brother Nobody up, and we'll get that popping. If you want to get into the Versus series and do some debates, let me know. We can do whatever. DMG the Poet at gmail.com. That's DMGDAPOET. Hit me up.
And big shout out to Nobody. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
No doubt. The next sound y'all gonna hear is that of our brother, Big Hemi. We out, family. That's peace. Till next time, y'all come on Black.
I don't got no friends. You know what I mean? I got supporters, people on my side and people on the other side.
Welcome to the shift where the whole room glows. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. This you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm like, yo, shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. This that channel that be talking back, energy attack. Iron sharpens iron, watch the whole league react. Competition in the building, better tighten up your facts. We ain't clones, but we still mirror how you crack under impact. Every debater work hard, spot a weak, rep fast. You live wrong, paradigm shift and break your stance. I'm the judge, the jury, the pen, the contrast. My bars hit always like a quadruple. Buying title shift where the whole room glow. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't all align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. We invite every mind, long as you stand on yours. Walking with respect, leave with open doors. Channel stay lit, views jumping off the boards. STL bounce, yeah, the spy from the source. Competitors, welcome, step up, don't fold. We don't fit pressure, we refine under low. Thoughts heavy, we press them till the truth gets told. Ship so clean, it feel platinum, even when it's gold. Come through correct, bring your logic and your proof. Speak your truth, just don't run from the truth. We debate with grace, that's the paradigm groove. Flow so smooth, even turbulence move. Welcome to the shift where the whole room go. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Where the whole glow. DMG vibe, like the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' go. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm life, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Welcome to the shift. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Welcome to the shift. If you black, I'm with you, with you, black, I'm with you. Welcome to the shift. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. Welcome to the shift. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibe, got the city on low. Good paradigm shift, keep the road forward.
Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me.